Top 10 questions asked by employers. Number 1, what do you know about the company? This is the most common question that you will ever get asked at an interview. So have a look at the company's website and don't just look at the About Us page. Look at what the company do, the products or services that they offer, whether they've won any awards or whether they're working on any big projects. If the latter two are something that they've got listed on there, then that opens it up to more questions. You could ask for more information, and it just shows that you've taken the initiative to look a little deeper and that you've got an interest in the company. Number 2, why do you want to work for us? So what is it about the company or the role that you've applied for that interests you the most? Is it the sector that they work in, the types of role or duties that you'll be doing? Think about this so that you're able to answer that question. Number 3, what do you know about the role that you've applied for? The best place to look at to answer that question would be the job description. That will list all of the duties and responsibilities that you'll be undertaking on there. It could be that there are certain areas that you don't quite understand, and that would be another opportunity to ask a question. So if there's a certain area that you don't get, you could ask them to elaborate on that. Number 4, what is your understanding of an apprenticeship? So an apprenticeship is a work-based qualification. So do some research on apprenticeships and the one that you've applied for so that you're able to answer that in a bit more detail. If you go to the website here, which is www.apprenticeships.gov.uk, you can have a look into apprenticeships in more detail. Number 5, why have you chosen this route instead of going to college or uni? So do you not want to be in a classroom all day long? Do you prefer to get into a work-based role and gain some real-life work experience? Do you feel that this is a better route to get into a permanent job after completion? Think about why you've chosen this as opposed to going to college and try and make it positive as opposed to negative. So not like, I don't like college, because you are going to have to come into college for, 1 day a week. So try to make it positive, even if it is a negative. Number 6, what do you think you could bring to the role? So are there any skills that they've asked for that you possess? Did you do any work experience where you might have covered some of this? Did you do some of this at school? So for example, if you're applying for a business administration apprenticeship, did you do business studies at GCSE and you found it really interesting? So think about what you could bring to the role. Tell me about your experience. So this doesn't have to be just from a work-based environment, as I know that some of the applicants might have just left school. So this could be from school projects that you've done, like group activities. It could be from outside of school activities, like sort of clubs that you attend. Just make sure that the skills that you're highlighting are ones that they're looking for. So whether it's working well within a team or good organisational skills. Think about times when you've done those sort of skills in those other areas that you could bring that to give an example of. Number 8, give me an example of a time when you've had to work to a deadline. So these types of questions are called competency questions, and they are basically looking for an example of when you've completed the specific task or duty that they've asked. So again, it doesn't have to be from work if you've not worked before. This could be from school. So if you did a group project in science, for example, what did you guys do to ensure that you reached your end goal? How did you organise who did what? How did you ensure that people were working on track to make sure that the project was finished on time? Number 9, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? If you can, try and relate it to the role that you've applied for. So for example, if it's a HR level 3 apprenticeship, would you like to be working as a HR advisor and have completed your level 5 within 5 years' time? That could be an achievable goal. Lastly, 10, do you have any questions? So interviews are also for you to ask the employer questions. So I would suggest to look at around 5 to 10 questions that you could ask, mainly because a lot of these questions will probably get covered in the interview. So if you're left with 3 or 4 to ask at the end, that's probably a good number to have. Examples would be, have you hired an apprentice before? If they have, how did that work out? What support did the apprentice get? Are they still working with you? What have they gone on to do since they finished their apprenticeship? So did they progress to a higher level? Did they do a new job within the company? Good questions to ask. Could also be, what would my day-to-day duties be like? What is the team like that I'd be working with? And what are the next steps from here? If you want more information, here are the top 10 questions you might be asked by an employer during an interview. Question 1, what do you know about the company? This is the most common question that you'll always get asked in an interview, so make sure you do some research on the company. Look at what they do, what products or services that they offer. Have they won any awards recently? Are they working on any big projects? Make sure you know some information on the company and not just look at the About Us page. Being able to tell them that they've got 43 employees and have been going since 2012 doesn't really tell them that you know anything about them. Question 2, why do you want to work for us? What is it about them or the role that interests you? Is it the sector that they work in? So, for example, are they a pharmaceutical company and that's an area that you really want to work in? If so, why? Because they will ask you to sort of expand on it, try and give sort of good full answers as opposed to short sentences or one-word answers. Number 3, what do you know about the role that you've applied for? Make sure you look at the job description and have a good understanding of the role and the duties that are on there. If there are some areas that you don't quite understand fully, you could always ask them to expand on those areas to give more clarification on what that would involve.